I'm Valerie Wheeler and today we're here with EirGrid, the official timing partner of the GAA, and today we're going to get to know Grace Walsh. Grace, so you are a Tullaroan woman. Can you maybe describe to us in a few words what Tullaroan is like?
Tullaroan is very small. We have one pub, one shop and a primary school which has less than 100 pupils. And then we have a hurling and camogie pitch as well. So you'd probably, if you blinked going through it, you'd probably miss it. That's how small it is. But yeah, it's a nice little parish. We have a little saying in Tullaroan and it's small parish, big heart.
No, it's absolutely stunning. Can you maybe tell us a bit about life growing up in Tullaroan and what that was like for you at home?
Yeah, so I have a big enough family. It's my parents and I have 4 brothers and we all went to the primary school in Tullaroan. Everybody knows everybody in Tullaroan because it's so small, which is really nice in a way because everyone has your back no matter what. And I suppose you know everything about everybody, which sometimes maybe isn't always a good thing, but I suppose we all went to primary school together, all played sport together growing up, played hurling and camogie in obviously the local pitch and the school. The girls played on the boys team because there wasn't enough boys to fill the boys team, so very close knit. But growing up was just great crack. Everyone was always at the pitch, you know.
You had a big family and there's a farm at home, of course. What was life like growing up on the farm? Did you do much farming now, Grace, be honest?
I'm a pro farmer. No, growing up on the farm is great. My dad has a farm. It's a small enough farm. We kind of really only used it as a hobby, worked on it as a hobby, I suppose, more than anything. But it was great because I suppose you're always outside, and that was something that my dad was pro, was being outside as children all the time. Wasn't a fan of being us being inside and watching TV or playing on the PlayStation or whatever, so he did anything to get us outside. So that's what we did. Lots of farming, lots of chores outside the house, yeah.
No, it sounds like it was such a nice childhood growing up, of course, but being part of the community in Tullaroan, was there other things maybe outside of the sport that you were involved with? Was there other things happening outside of sport in Tullaroan?
I suppose not really. Do you know, we actually have a community hall as well, so every Christmas we'd have kind of a little bit of a show. I was never involved, not that talented in that area, but you know, literally everybody had a part to play in it, I suppose, whether it was doing the music, the lighting, bringing people to the seats or whatever. But we had that every Christmas. Apart from that, there might have been a bit of Irish dancing, but it was sport. That was kind of all we had, and there's not a whole lot to do in Tullaroan, but it's a good thing in a way.
Yeah, sport was massive. Let's get into it. The hurling and of course the camogie in your house. Like, what was it like growing up in a house that was bringing in medals every week?
Yeah, well, I suppose it wasn't really like that when we were smaller. As I said, my dad was mad for us to be outside all the time. Myself and Mum were both mad into hurling and camogie, and my dad played with Tullaroan up until he was in his 40s, I think. I don't know if he'd be happy for me to say that. My mum then on the other side, not very good at sport, but her family, her parents, her dad especially, they were steeped in the GAA, Kilkenny GAA, when she was growing up, so she had a different type of passion for it. So I suppose because it was 4 of us plus then my parents, we were always kind of out the back. As I said, we had the farm, so we had fields out the back of our house. My dad, we weren't allowed to play on the front garden because he thought we'd wreck it. So he actually made a pitch for us out the back in one of the fields. He cut it out, got us a goal. So that's kind of what we did, out just playing away, matches against ourselves. So it was a good bit of crack.
No, it sounds absolutely class. But for you yourself, do you remember picking up a hurley first? So is it a hurl or a hurley now in Kilkenny?
Definitely a hurl. I wouldn't be listening to you, Valerie, saying hurley. But no, definitely a hurl. Yeah, I suppose I remember when I was really young, we didn't have a girls' team when I was little. So there's a woman in Tullaroan, Breda Marr. She lives right in the village of Tullaroan. She's an incredible woman, really passionate about hurling and camogie, a lot of pride in Tullaroan. And she was just mad for myself, her daughter, she had a daughter the same age as me, mad for us to play. So she used to bring us off to play with other teams, and then she always threw us in with the boys as well. So I suppose I was very young. I remember standing in the goal, being thrown in the goal at one stage, and was sitting down in my hunkers. I thought I was playing for Kilkenny at this stage. I was probably only about 5 or 6. That's probably my first memory, shouting at everyone, telling them where to go. But it's a bit of crack.
And then progressing, of course, to having a girls' team and getting to play with a team full of girls, which was really special.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that all comes down to Breda Maher again. You know, she set up our first team when we were younger, underage, and you know, you could be 8 years old, but you could be playing for the under 12s. So like you were a tiny tot running around playing with older girls, but it toughened us up, and I suppose it gave us a bit more of a competitive edge because you're used to playing with these older, probably more physical kind of players. But yeah, no, it was great to finally get a girls' team, and we now have a senior club. We're up senior with Tullaroan, and it's brilliant that we have the numbers to even do that.
Yeah, well, you mentioned kind of it toughening you up, I suppose, being part of like the under 12s when you were 8, but also probably what toughened you up was the 4 boys at home that also played hurling with you.
Yeah, like you were just playing with boys all the time, even in primary school, even on the local club team as well. We were playing with the boys, played right up until under 16. That was when I decided I need to retire from playing with the boys. There was a bit different level of physicality at that stage, but yeah, it definitely toughened you up, and it gave a real sense of community in that as well, because I remember playing with the boys in primary school, and some real tall guy tried to nearly start on me in the match. He wasn't happy with something that I had done, and you know, straight away all the boys were in to back me up and protect me, and I suppose you know, that just shows the pride that we have in each other, I suppose, and in the people of Tullaroan, and you always have each other's backs no matter what, which is nice.
No, it is nice, and of course they continue that love and support for you, because now they're coming to all your camogie matches, you're getting to All Ireland, you're there for the boys when they're playing county, they're there for you when you're playing county also.
Yeah, exactly, and that's something that I suppose we do pride ourselves in Tullaroan, is that everyone supports everyone.
So let's talk a bit about the career, let's talk about the camogie life for you. It's been an amazing journey for you, but can you maybe tell us, like, what was the high so far for you in your camogie career?
I suppose I probably have 2. You know, as I said already, Tullaroan, everyone's really passionate about their sport, and about camogie and about hurling, and everyone wants the club to do well no matter what it's in. And in 2016 we won the intermediate county final, and that was just something really, really special. And I suppose I played for Kilkenny, but I wouldn't play for them if it wasn't for Tullaroan and the club, because that's where I learned how to play, and that's where I grew up. So I suppose that was one really special one. And then in 2020 we won the Kilkenny, we won the All Ireland, and I don't know why, but it's one that kind of holds a special place in my heart. You know, they're each of them are special in their own right, but I suppose that's the one that probably sticks out the most.
For you, Grace, it's not easy though, because you have a work-life balance, and for you, you're a nurse. And what's it like trying to balance the both of them, all the training with both club and county, and being, of course, a full-time job as well as a nurse?
Yeah, I suppose I've been on the Kilkenny, brought into the Kilkenny team when I was just 16, so it's something that I'm definitely used to, and I suppose over time you kind of just got used to juggling it. But once I started as a nurse, I actually found it really difficult at the beginning, because where I was nursing, they weren't big fans, we'll say, of camogie, I suppose. So they maybe didn't understand at the beginning, and I was kind of afraid to ask for days off here and there. But eventually then I went to my manager and I explained the situation, and I honestly couldn't have got more support from the hospital that I work in, which is Vincent's Hospital in Dublin. You know, I'm still working there now, and because what they did for me there back then, which was 7 years ago, I'm still working there because of that, because I was really well supported.
You've mentioned like little sayings throughout today, you know, and you sound like you've got lovely advice down to the years from family and friends and everyone in the community of Tullaroan. But what's the best piece of advice that you've ever been given?
I suppose, to be honest, the best piece of advice is about working hard, and literally what I've just said is that if you want something enough, and you're willing to put in the work and do what it takes to get there, then you will get there. And I suppose don't ever, the setbacks will just make you stronger. You know, you can learn more from a loss or a setback than you can from winning or getting every job you've ever went for, you know. So I think if you work hard and you're able to learn from the setbacks, then you'll get to where you want to be.
Grace, that's a lovely way of looking at life. Thank you so much for sharing so much of your journey in life with us today.
Thanks for having me, Valerie.